Right, this will be my deck profile here for Adamancipator Rock on the Master Duel format. I decided to make this after some time now. I was actually participating in a few tournaments around some maybe smaller communities or bigger communities, Decade stuff, also Duel, Links Entertainment stuff, OTK and other stuff. Actually winning one tournament, other few tournaments not going too well. Best shot mostly top 8 or better, top 4 or whatever. Mostly due to some bit of unlucky hand draws and stuff. So let me just fix my deck real quick because I actually see how it usually looks like. Getting this, talk about it because I do want to just take the time now because I think I just kind of want to do this. I think most people will be interested in maybe listening to other people's point of view to this deck because it can be played so differently. Yeah, let's see. So we're playing Adamancipator, all about excavating rocks. It's mainly rock type, and it's a combo deck, of course. So you always want to go first. We're playing Dragonburst Destruction. This is for the lockdown for Burrow Load. This prevents your opponent from actually touching the extra deck as long as this card is equipped to a card. More to this later. Chenji is my extender for possible plays going into Harbor Fags, to Needlefiber. Yeah, because it's a tuner. It's also on Earth, which is good. So we always want to go for Earth cards, like Earth attributes. This is also good for being a tuner. It's the only reason. There's also other things I played before too. There's like the Madolch card. Madolch. Yeah, this one, which can be special summon as long as you have no cards in your graveyard. No monsters, I think. So this is also good to start with. It's Earth. It's a level 4, which is really good for Gallant. I put it away now because I don't think it's that nice, because especially if you hit it, it's not a rock, so you can't even special summon it. Also, you can't do anything with it if you have cards in grave, so kind of bad. I'm playing Max C, 3 copies. I might think about making less of this, especially if you might go first. You might want to play less of those, maybe just 2 or 1 even. Because it can be bricky actually. It's an extremely good card, and especially in the MD format, it's definitely needed to be played. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Hand trap, you draw cards. It's really good for second at least, definitely. Mega Phantom Beast Lion is for, yeah, I guess for the Needlefiber and to go into maybe a Link Spider, do some plays that you can do potentially with Union Carrier to go into, like to equip like a Block Dragon to the Link Spider, so you can get rid of those potentially. It didn't actually come that often for me. I still don't like. I'm still thinking about moving this card, but I don't know. It's also Wind, which can be good for the Adamancipator Horizon, for the Reptide, but I'm not sure. I think it's okay if you do plays with a Needlefiber though. I think it's a pretty good card. Doki Doki is your card that you want to maybe normal summon. It's a good normal summon card. As long as you don't get ashed, you can discard a rock monster. Mainly probably one of your 4 cards you can't do anything with. Maybe in a start if you want to pitch this Gigantus because you can't special summon him because you don't have a card yet in your graveyard. You can get out Analyzer, it's pretty good. Special summon him and you can go for the effect. Also target to bring out maybe a Groxys, more to this later why, or maybe actually just a Guardian. Yeah, drops this part of the Blankets, gonna talk about this later. Then we have 3 copies of Seeker, Researcher, and of course of the Analyzer as well. These are your main Adamancipator cards actually, first of all. So Researcher special summons itself as long as you control just any rock. Seeker as long as you control another Adamancipator card on field. And Analyzer can special summon itself if your opponent controls cards. And only your opponent. So all these search cards, like you excavate the top 5 cards and you look for a rock. If you hit a rock that you can actually special summon, you can special summon it. That's huge. That's your main combo. Research is the best card to go because it's actually not restricted to its own archetype are just 2 rocks, and you play only rocks, so free summon, and you go off. It's all tuners, more to this later. Then we have 3 copies of Ash, and Trap again, absolutely needed to play. Gardna is an extender. You just banish an Earth in your graveyard, which obviously is all Earth, and you can special summon him. It's also a rock, so it's an extender for Researcher, for example. Then we go to Guardian, 3 copies. Guardian is so stupidly strong and so good. It's like a negate for any monster, like any monster cards. You can tribute this card, negate the activation, and destroy that monster. Really good, because you can basically start a Guardian, like a normal summon Guardian. It's a really good normal summon, and then go off with a Researcher to continue if you have like Researcher and Guardian in hand. So Guardian can, for example, stop an Ash that might hit your Emancipators, or your Gallant, which will be the most critical card to hit. You can also stop Max with that, Max C, Pack Whaler, any monster hand trap you can block with this. It's also good to just leave it on the field as well and passing the turn. So Roxy's is an engine that I use. I think most use this to go into Meow Meow, to the Doodaloo. This is just, it's a rock, which is really good. It's a level 4, which is really good. It goes to the grave, and from the grave you banish it. You banish 1 card from your hand, and then you draw a card, which can come in really good if you have like a card you don't need on hand, like maybe a Feather Duster or anything else that you actually don't need. Get a new card, maybe you draw into Researcher, etc. And then you just go into the Meow Meow. This card special summons Dropsies, which is really important. It's a water, and we need this for Dragite. Then you can go into Doodaloo, use the Roxy's, the Dropsies, and the Meow Meow. Activate this effect again, you gain 1k life, which is okay, which is nice. And you get a Roxy's again at the board. So you have Doodaloo, it's a Link 2, and a Roxy's on the field, just from doing this, unless you get stopped. This is an Ash target and can fuck you up hard if it gets ashed, if it's the only play, of course. It gets your Dropsies in the grave, which is a water, which is really good, and Link 2 for Apollo. So you just need 2 more cards, and you go into a 3 material Apollo. Yeah, Gokai, my Supplier, is just also an extender, which works if a rock monster on your field goes to the grave, unless it's in the damage step. You can special summon this card, and if this card gets special summoned, you can add a Gokai card, I think. Any Gokai card, or a key card, which would be a Guardian. It's just extender level 4, really important, and it's also a rock. Huge. Rock Band Xenoguitar, I put this in now, never used it yet, but people do tell me to use this. Can come in clutch, I guess. You take a graveyard, a rock from your graveyard, and you place it to your hand, and then you can place 1 card from your hand on top of the deck, which could be nice. This could be a nice effect. You can get from grave maybe a card back that you need, a raw card, maybe like a tuner if you actually had to discard it for some reason, and then put something on top, which is really good, because if you excavate again with the effects, you can actually hit a card on your hand that you actually wanna hit, like maybe a Supplier, but maybe not really, maybe actually Guardian or something you wanna actually hit and special summon. Can come in good, but it's also level 4, it's a rock. Yeah, it's situational. Some people also use Tackle, Crusader, can also come in handy. I just don't have it because I don't think it's that good going first. Because if it goes in the grave, you can target from face-up monster opponent control, change that to face-down position, which is really nice. You can stop any like effect monster that you want to activate after normal summoning, or face-up spell and trap, which is I think the best effect, because this could be your out for like a skill drain or something. I don't know if it comes up that good, but it's still a rock. It's a level 4. It's an earth. It had everything you need. Could be used. I don't use it. I don't think it's that great going first, because if your opponent doesn't control anything, it doesn't really matter. When you come to the heart of the deck, which is Block Dragon, this absolute busted beast. can special summon whenever it wants. It's not even once per turn, as long as you can have like 3 earth monsters in your graveyard or on your hand. You can use from your hand or graveyard. Special summon this guy. So, insane good stats, 2500 attack, 3k defense, insane. Also the effect that all rock monsters you control cannot be destroyed except by battle, which is really nice. Most busted effect is that if it goes to the grave, from the field to the grave, you can add up to 3 rock monsters from your deck to your hand, which has to equal the level, so level 8. So you can take Gigantis, for example, and a Researcher and a Seeker, which equals 8. That's just strong. Like, you always go just insanely plus with this. Don't have to start with it, but you can. But I think it's better to not start with it, because you actually do need 3 materials. And that can come bad in the start, because basically you would need Block Dragon in hand, 3 cards you want to banish from hand that you don't need, and then a card to play on still, so you can get it into the grave. So, not best target, that's why you can maybe play it at once, at 1 copy only. But if it gets banished, maybe play card back grave, or if you play against Eldritch, or like a Dogmatica, Shadow or whatever, with Ariel can banish. Like, any banishment hurts, it hurts. If it gets banished, it can't come back. It's kind of bad. So I'm just playing it 2, I think that's just fine. 1 copy of Nibiru, also just hand traps, also Rock, which you can actually special summon on Reptile effect. Probably don't want to do that, but you can if you want to. Just 1 copy. Maybe you want to side 2 more and play 3 if you go second. So these 2 cards are just back row removal, because the deck sucks a bit at removing back row. So if you need to, definitely 2 of these are good. Maybe also just Twin Twister inside, what I use. I'm gonna show that later. Too cold, because you always want to go first, and cold is something I can stop in Ash or Maxi if you don't want to, or any other hand trap that might fuck around with you. And let's go to the extra deck for now, which consists of Herald of Arclight. I put it in because you can actually do summon it. It sometimes comes up if maybe you get maxed and you're like, well, I got my Research Arch, maybe Doki, and I just want to end up on Herald. I think that's fine, because it's because do be having this banishment effect that any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead, which can come good. You stop some stuff, but it also can attribute itself to a negate effect, which is really good. This is just like an optional thing, but I think it can come up sometimes, which is pretty good. Then we have Reptide, which is one of your main synchros you go into. So usually you go Researcher effect or any of them effects, then maybe go into this. This is another Researcher effect, but here the good thing is the Researchers can't special summon tuners, like not any other Adamancipator tuner, only a straight up rock monster. But Reptile can also special summon you one of the Seeker, or one of the Researcher, one of the Analyzer, which is mostly my Analyzer target, because usually you probably start, if you go first, probably with a Researcher or a Seeker, maybe not an Analyzer. So this is mostly, I'm happy to hit an Analyzer and get out an Analyzer. This is really huge. It's also level 4. Analyzer's level 4. This is pretty important. It's pretty easy to go into like Savage Dragon or into Dragite, which are your main negate monsters with Appaloosa. Bro Savage, obviously your Omni negate. You probably get the Doodle-Doo on it if you did the Prank Kids engine, or maybe the Hyperfrix, because it is also water, so it can come in handy if you don't go for the Dropsies. But keep in mind, if you use it as a equip for the bowl, and you don't have a water anymore, Dragite's effect's not working. So Dragite always needs a water in grave, at least 1. Then you can negate a spell trap, and that's a quick effect, and destroy it. That's why we always want to at least make sure to have 1. That's why you can also play, in my opinion, maybe not everyone likes it, but you can play one of the eggs, the blue eggs, which is actually a nice card. If you excavate it through the effect of a researcher, you can also draw a card of its effect, which is huge in my opinion. It's just pretty nice, and it's level 4 again. It's a rock. You can also use it for Gallant, and it's a water. You can have one of this at least in the deck. I think, actually, I'm thinking about maybe putting it back instead of the Sinnoh Rock, the Sinnoh Guitar guy, because if you maybe survive, or maybe your opponent actually survived the second turn, he usually pushes through and he maybe kill off your Dragite or whatever. The card also allows you to recycle your Dragite back into the extra deck and put this card back on top, which means if you still have a Researcher or any other Adamancipator card in hand, you can actually summon it, use the Excavate effect, get back the egg because it's on top of the deck, so you're always gonna hit it, and then you can special summon it, get another draw, which is really nice, and you can go back into Dragite and have another water monster again in the grave, which is huge. You can recycle, it can come in handy really good, but I wouldn't play too much of it because it's bricky if you start with it. Yeah, then we have Gallant. Needs 2 level 4, that's why we're always playing with level 4 monsters. Yeah, you use this effect to add block dragon, that's the main reason. If you don't have them, don't start with them. We definitely use Gallant here. At some point we're gonna make it and get our block dragon for sure. It's huge. Link Spider again for the token. Can also be used for the token of Nibiru, but I don't know if it really comes in handy, but yeah, it's there. Brankets for the engine. Abrafix, because we're using tuners, you can also go into this very easily. Get another tuner that you maybe need. For example, if you started Analyzer and you don't need Analyzer anymore, go to a Seeker or a Researcher for the level 2, or into the O-Lion. Do some plays with it. That's the reason why it's here. It's also water, so if it goes into the grave, pretty good. You could also play Crow Dragon, I think it's name. It's also tuner, so you could actually use the effect of Hypercrix in your opponent's turn and get this out and have a pop potentially. But that's only on your turn, I think. Actually, no mind. But you have this. This is a potential thing you can maybe get out. It's also level 6. It can come in handy, but I don't use it anymore. But it's something you could consider. It's also water, so get it out. Phoenix back row removal. It's the only reason. Also a good card to just like link block dragon off to get this effect. Same for IP, but IP can come really in handy if you end up the board with an IP and you have one more card. For example, you can go into a Nightmare Unicorn then, which we play, which is to shovel a card back to deck, which can come in handy to maybe out a few cards. Yeah, Union Carry is used again for the Savage Dragon, the Bowl Load, or you can also use this to add Block Dragon to any rock you have. If you somehow can go into Gallant, you can always try to just have 2 links and get into Union Carrier, attach it to a rock card, or with an attribute of Earth, and then put it on, and if you actually can get rid of that card that it's equipped to, you can also activate the effect, which can come in clutch. It's only a play that you do if you can't do anything else, but you can maybe pull that off. But keep in mind you can special summon it that turn, so you only get the effect, and that's about it. Apollo is the negate stuff. You mostly do 3 material, or maybe even a 4 material if you have the cards on field. Access code to finish, of course. Can come really in a good place, especially with IP maybe. If you use IP and then maybe Nightmare that you used, you can use Nightmare for the boost to 5.3k, and then IP's effect kind of protects a bit from destroying. So can come in really handy. It's just to finish off your opponent, of course. Yeah, that's about it. That's about my main deck. I think it's fine like this. You can make so many different options here to play. Some also use the spell card. I think I forgot the name already, but the card. something like this, I think. Well, I think I forgot. Like a spell card that allows you to draw, but you can only use this, or like you can only use that card as a spell card, and not anything else. Don't want to use it really, because I don't know, these cards are better. Yeah, that's it for now. This is the main deck. The site I used is mostly this. I'm gonna explain exactly why too. Droplet 100% needed if you go second and you know you're going against another combo deck like Drytron, or even a mirror match, or maybe another combo deck that's really good. Droplet is your out for that. Yeah, Royal Decree to maybe go against Ehrlich can be a good out. EO is kind of a meme choice. It's kind of a meme, but you can actually use it because you don't really use many spells anyways. You mostly focused on playing monsters. So if you go against the Sky Striker or any other kind of deck that has a lot of use of spell cards, this is your perfect out. You don't care. 700 life points, whatever. You don't use any spell cards anyways, so use for you, bad for your opponent. But that's monkey flip. Yeah. Gamma, another option to maybe for second, just to negate. Can also, yeah, just when it's taking this in because it's a good card. Can come in clutch. So Ally is like a reader. I hate Drytron. So this is hand drop, especially just against that archetype itself. You can discard this card and then target up to 2 light monsters in your graveyard, opponent's graveyard, and banish them. So if you play against Drytron, you can use this to banish the Alpha and whatever, the Drytron cards, or any other cards that he needs in grave. Can come in handy. I used it, I think, once, but it get called by grave, so opponent actually called by grave this to not get his Drytrons banished. Can be good. Didn't really help me out because I still lost it, but yeah, it can come in handy. And I just hate Drytron, and a lot of people play it. Especially in tournaments I played, so can come in handy. Who knows? A third Blood Dragon could be anything else too that you rather prefer. Just in here in case I actually do play against like some kind of banishment deck that's really strong. That actually tries to banish cards, so I may be safe of having 3 copies. Could also be something else. Could be another synchro, level 8 synchro, that's maybe good. You can also put it maybe in Crystal Wing instead. Maybe you want to play with that. Maybe you need more of those. Don't need Herald. Maybe you want something else, something that just helps you in general. And then I have 3 copies of Twin Twister, so it could also be Cosmic Cyclone. Just back row removal because you do need it, because your deck, or like Adamancipator, kind of lacks removing back row. And so if you are against something back row heavy, and a lot of people play Floodgates, play Eldlich, if they flip skill drain, you kind of fucked. You need to get rid of it. If they flip, there can only be one. There can only be one. I lost to this last time. Okay, I guess so many cards. If the flick gets flipped, yeah, you can't do anything. Yeah, your whole deck consists of rocks. You fucked. Summon limit, whatever you call it, or the other card that limits summons, etc., etc. If it comes up, you need back row removal. You can also use Gigantes, which is already in your deck. It's like a heavy storm if it crashes in a battle only. So if it dies in battle, you get to clear both sides, your end and the enemy end. Which I actually did use this a few times, so that's why I sometimes consider playing 2 Gigantes actually, because I think it is a good card and it can come in really good and it's a good extender. So yeah, again, you can crash it into Eldlich. If it's in attack position, it dies. And as long as it doesn't get like banished before or like popped before, whatever. If it actually does die through battle, clear the back row, which can come really good in handy, especially if its skill drain is up. This is your out. It's a good card. So yeah, that's my side deck, a potential side deck. If you also want to play a reboot, right? A reboot. Maybe this is the better choice. I don't know. This is something everyone has to consider themselves. Maybe you don't need two. Maybe just none of those because it's very forced. But yeah, this is what you can consider playing. So let's go into some replays, maybe to just show what you can pull off with maybe your main combo. Then I call it for that today.